line of the left field line. Salvi scores. Frazier will hold at third. Renfroe's into second base. It is 6-2, and the tying run will be on deck, which means it has created a save situation for the Twins.
Yep, hanging slider. Renfroe, that's elevation right into his wheelhouse where he likes to pull it.
Slow roller to third, and Castro will have no play. It is 6-3, and now the tying run is on base.
And he'll take that infield chopper any day of the week. Perfect placement. That's a pocket ball. Nothing you can do with that. And the Royals continue to rally, keeping the line moving.
And the 3-2 to Garcia is chopped towards short. Going to be a tough play. Castro's throw is offline. Blanco holds at third. Michael goes to second. It is a one-run game with the tying run at third and the go-ahead run at second.
Hey, forget about the gaps. How about just the choppers? Hey, the chopper seems to be working. The Twins thought they had a cakewalk, and these Royals are pesky.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Royals Recap presented by Royals Review. I am Jacob Milham, as always, one half of the Royals Rundown podcast. If you're listening to this episode, that means that our full-length episode should be the next one in your queue, ? I think it is. Even if it isn't, go and scroll down a little bit. Check out the full-length episode between myself and Jeremy Greco as we talk about the Rays action. So, I know most of y'all, hopefully you had the day off today. Hopefully you rested, you unwound a little bit, and then also recognized the day for what it is. So I hope you did that. I hope you did all three of those things, honestly. Today, the Royals went up to Minnesota to start off a 4-game set against AL Central rival Minnesota Twins. And unfortunately, it was a losing effort. The Royals have lost their last two, which, it ain't a whole lot, but it is still disappointing when they lose. They lost 6-5 in today's Memorial Day game. Now, the rotation has been something that we can all rely on. Last time I looked at the statistic, nearly half of all the Royals starts this year have been quality starts, which is the envy of teams around the league. And that goes up and down the rotation. Alec Marsh, even though he was limited with injuries and how many starts he has made this season, he has still been a reliable piece of the rotation. Unfortunately, he got shelled today. We talked about it previously on the podcast, pointing out the fact that last year he really struggled with giving up home runs, giving up almost 2 per 9 innings. Well, that's what happened today. He allowed 5 runs on 2 homers. Now, it wasn't all bad. All right, he got through 7 innings. He struck out 7 in that span and walking only a pair. But it's just it still was not a great start from him. It was not a good start. I get it. He went in and he tried to limit the damage by giving 7 innings of work, but those 5 runs he gave up were a big part of the difference. There's no denying that, and his ERA still sits at 3.24. I'm not saying demote Alec Marsh or anything like that, but he just did lose control at different points in the game. He wasn't able to land his off-speed stuff in the zone. His fastball was erratic, things like that. And it forced him into uncomfortable situations. So, for example, Trevor Larnach, he got a middle fastball at 93 miles an hour because Marsh was just trying to get it in the zone, and that was a 3-run homer. All right, and I'm still a Marsh believer. Like I said, just not a good start from him. And I'm surprised that at that point, when he really started losing control, I think that Quatraro should have evaluated pulling him. I think he should have at least had someone warming up in the bullpen after he walked a pair. And I don't know. I just kind of throw my hands up at it. He's the 5th man in the rotation for a reason. It was a bad start. It happens on the road, and the Twins got the best of him. And it's not like he had a whole lot of run support to work with. All right. Believe it or not, the Royals did actually out-hit the Twins today. It certainly didn't feel like it, but that's what happens when Marsh walked a couple and Joe Ryan, who has the Royals number, it seems, didn't. All right. Ryan, on the other hand, he had 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, and 9 strikeouts, looking like an absolute beast. And it was, he he was really good. He was really, really good. In the first 8 innings, Kansas City only had 1 run thanks to a Vinny Pasquantino single that scored Bobby Witt Jr., I do believe it was. And they had more of an opportunity to do some things afterwards. Unfortunately, Salvi got a little swing happy at the plate against Ryan. And it's just one of those times Joe Ryan had his number, and that ended it. One of the other things that was really different today are 2 fielding plays. So first off, Nick Anderson, he pitched the 8th inning. All right, he was the lone relief arm to come out of the Royals bullpen tonight. Pitched the 8th inning. I was like, okay, well, we'll see what happens here. And he induced a softly hit pop-up, shallow right center field, I believe it was. And you had 4 Royals converging. Bobby Witt, Adam Frazier, who was playing second, and then Dairon Blanco and Hunter Renfroe. And, this was a 2-out situation. Catching that ball would have ended the inning and gotten the Royals back to the plate. And I don't know if it was just a mental lapse or if Bobby thought he heard something, but he just was not able to catch the ball. It went off the heel of his glove, and that put a runner on with 2 outs. And then later on, MJ Melendez did not have a great break and tried to make a sliding play in left field, and unfortunately he could not hold on to the ball. And that runner that got on, thanks to Bobby's missed fielding play, I'm not going to say an error, but his missed fielding play, came around to score. Made it 6-1. All right, it just seemed like another thing on par for this game for starting off the series, but it turned out to be much more important later on down the road. All right, Salvi came to the plate with 1 out, singled off of Cole Sands, and then with 2 outs, Frazier and Hunter Renfroe had back-to-back hits, pushing Sands out of the game, forcing the Twins into a save situation, so they had to go to their closer, Duran. And they were almost back. They really, really were. They almost made it back, and golly, I really believe they would. I really thought they were going to make it back. And then, Duran comes in, hits MJ Melendez with the pitch. Then Dairon Blanco got a soft little hit to third, and he reached base. Now it's 6-3 Royals. Michael Garcia is singled. Lo and behold, it's 5-6 Royals. And you have Bobby Witt Jr. at the plate. 2 runners on. And unfortunately, he just grounded out back to the pitcher. Soft toss to the first baseman. And that is all she wrote for the Kansas City Royals. It was a fun ending. It really was. They're currently sitting at 34-21. I get it. The last time these guys faced off was in the opening day series, and a lot has changed since then. It really has. But the Royals have just historically struggled in Target Field. Now they've lost 15 of their last 18. Right? They can turn that around a little bit with 3 more games in Target Field, starting off with the top of the rotation, Cole Reagans, tomorrow. And I hope that they emerge victorious. I really, really do. This was a game where the bats could have come alive a lot earlier, and that would have been much more helpful. But Marsh also put him in a pretty deep hole. And he was not sharp today. He really wasn't. It was a disappointing game, but it's not the end of the season. This isn't a backbreaker. All right, the Royals can still take the series from the Minnesota Twins and really put more of a stamp on their spot as contenders and competitors on the Major League Baseball platform. Coming up on the other side of the ad break, we will hear from manager Matt Quatraro and Alec Marsh. Stay tuned.
Talk a lot about the character of these guys, how hard they work, how much they stay in it, and it doesn't surprise me. They put good at-bats together. You know, the early part of the game, Joe Ryan just, pitched really well against us, and that happens. He's really good. So our guys didn't give up. We gave ourselves a chance.
What specifically did Joe Ryan do to kind of keep guys off balance?
Everything. I mean, he's got plus stuff. We know he's got a unique fastball characteristics. He's throwing hard. His split's good sweeper today, and, mixes it all up.
Couldn't ask for somebody better than Bobby up in that spot. I don't know, how do you, one pitch, it's not really tough to break that at bat down, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's throwing 100 miles an hour with a 97-mile-an-hour split. You got to be ready to hit. It's really hard to differentiate between those pitches, and if we have that chance to win with Bobby at the plate a lot, we're going to take our chances with that.
What did you kind of see out of Alec Marsh on the mound?
Threw the ball great. The home runs, that's one thing. It's just the two walks that preceded it. That's really what did him in, But other than that, I mean, he threw the ball extremely well.
And what are you kind of seeing from Michael Garcia and just kind of some of his swings as he's in this 14-game history that he's on?
Yeah, he's playing great baseball on both sides of the ball.
Is there anything you're seeing when Alec goes to the stretch that's different at all? Because the first pitch he threw from the stretch today was the one Miranda hit out, and then he was back cruising again.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a mislocated pitch. I mean, he's got good stuff from stretch or the windup. You're going to give up home runs at times, and he just mislocated that one. But, he's throwing the ball really well.
And he's really cut that down this year, right?
Yeah.
That fourth and fifth home runs.
Yeah, absolutely.
You differentiate this start today? What did you kind of see going against the Twins?
The plan was to try to keep the ball out of leaving the yard. A team that likes to leave the yard a lot. They hit a lot of fly balls and stuff like that. A team with high ISO. So, it came down to just a couple pitches for me. I thought majority of the game stuff was really good. Finally got some balls to sweep on the slider and stuff like that. But no, just limiting damage when you go back-to-back walks is kind of the key moment for me. That you can't give up a home run right there. The other one doesn't bother me as much as the 3-run homer. The other one, first pitch, trying to get ahead, just missed my spot. So that's going to happen. But after that, trying to limit damage and then having those in between batter resets to not go back-to-back walks. And then, trying to get out of there without giving up a 3-run homer. But other than that, I thought it was fine. Just unfortunate that, out of the 4 hits, 2 of them were big flies with guys on.
Do you take a lot of the sweepingness of the slider into your next start? I know you've been trying to work on that, trying to get back that feel.
Yeah, I felt like this was the best it's been to start. Finally starting to see horizontal movement on it. But regardless if that pitch is there or not, I still got to be able to use my other ones and throw them for strikes and not walk guys.
You got 7 innings in again, first time since your first start of this year. But how important is that to building for the future?
Huge. It's a long season. There's a lot of positives in that game right there. Hate to take the L, but we battled our ass off there at the end. So that's huge to see with this group. We're never out of it. So, like I said, I get 1 or 2 of those pitches back, we might win that game. So moving forward, just taking the positives out of that one, and I love that I was able to get 7 and save some of our arms in the bullpen because we're going to need them the rest of the series, especially after a long game in Tampa. So that's huge positive. But yeah, my ability to go deep into games is showing up more often, which I really like.
All right, let's go ahead and get through y'all's Spotify Q&A responses. So after the May 26th Royals recap, as always, I asked you guys, what did you think about this game? Tripp said we had a sucky pitching inning, and then Bobby failed to save us twice. And that last part still rings very true in Monday's loss. And then Christopher says, I blame this loss on Quatraro. Waka should not have pitched in the 7th inning because he struggled to finish the 6th. I would not have sent Witt home, but understand the thinking. And Christopher, after I slept on the decision to send Waka back out there for the 7th, it didn't age well with me. especially when you look at, I want to say he was pushing a 30-pitch 6th inning. That's a lot. He ain't no spring chicken, okay? He does have a limited gas tank. You have to use that gas tank very wisely. And it seemed like he came out in the 7th and he was running on fumes, and it came back to bite the Royals in the ass. Moving on to Minnesota, and didn't have a good move on, to say the least. All right, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you for joining me on tonight's Royals recap. Please make sure to follow us on social media and rate us, review us, follow, subscribe, whatever it is on your respective platform. It greatly helps out the podcast. Thank you for listening, and until next time, go Royals.